That's Mike.
That's Toya.
And this is Tech Beats and Bytes.
So we are here. And in case y'all don't know what here is.
You got to give them location. GPS.
We are at the end of the road. Boys to men.
We've come.
Yes.
That's all as far as I'm going.
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
You can't sing a little bit more?
Nope.
Scared.
Yep.
All right. So end of the road is because we got to take a break. Summertime. It's hot. No one will be coming into work all frustrated, mad because of the heat now. But we got some major things happening, so we're going to make some announcements towards the middle end of the show. But there's been a lot of news, most of it negative, so we really not going to do the news today. So we use the end of the show to kind of take in comments from our amazing supporters, as well as from the supporters. We like to talk about, a recap. Kind of giving an insight.
Reflecting back
so,
and forward.
Off the top of your head, Toya, what do you think was one of your favorite stories we covered this season?
Ooh, we've had so many fun ones. I will say, one, not that it was fun, but one that sort of was a bit of an eye-opener, and how what we're doing and is so important and why it's so important is what happened. Was that last show with the comment while we were on? And talking about what was going on with the whole Central Park 5.
Yeah.
That really just resonated for me, and it put everything, like I said, into perspective, and how we need to continue to add to control and share our own stories. And the more that we do so, the more that we can help change the narrative and make sure that the truth comes out. So I think that was huge.
I'm going to have to go with the same thing, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, just because of the way that response and the fact of how riled up I got, it just made me think of a lot of other conversations I've had on Facebook, and kind of just how much people still deny the impact of systematic oppression and systematic racism, and how these things still aren't being addressed.
Yeah.
I just find it to be a grossly huge issue that doesn't seem to get talked about on a regular basis. And I know the show is called Tech Beats and Bytes, but it's all of it. All these things tie together.
Absolutely.
If I had to remove that one for one of the most impactful and I guess shows we had, I would definitely still have to say that talking about Jay-Z becoming a billionaire and just looking at the vertical integration of all the companies put together, that was very exciting for me.
Yeah. And inspiring, right? Because we're all on our entrepreneurial journeys. So to know.
So for those out there watching, won't you tell us what was your favorite show that we did in the last 13 episodes? What did you enjoy the most?
Yeah. Drop a comment below.
Yeah. Give us some comments. And if there's any issues or things you want to address. So we have the team member's name, but I think I'm going to leave the team member's name off of these.
Yeah.
We're
just share the statement.
Yeah, we're going to just share the statement, and then we're going to have a brief discussion. This is a recap from our associate producers, directors, and us ourselves, so you won't really know who wrote what. We're just going to read the statements. I'll read halfway through so they don't get tired of my voice, so we can change it up. All right, so accountability. I ran across the post that said, accountability feels like an attack when you're not ready to acknowledge how your behavior harms others. This hits me hard as I recently learned that my sensitivity stems from my genuine love for wanting to help and show love to people. I often find myself on the I care too much side of the spectrum. When you care about others, you then adjust your behavior to accommodate people's insecurity and toxic behaviors towards you, but then wonder why you are the one left for hurt. At what point does that other person take accountability for their actions? You want to close it out?
Yeah, so it's okay to forgive 7 times 77, but also understand that action speaks louder than words. So stop being the go-to person for people you can't go to. Learn to say no without explanation. In the beginning, it's tough, but when you find the peace you are in search of, you learn to remain accountable for yourself and your own actions. Don't change who you are. Continue to give, spread love, and help where help is needed. However, don't be the go-to person to people who continuously disappoint you. Disappoint and disrespect are interchangeable here. Be you and stop giving the same people the freedom to disrupt your peace.
This one spoke a lot to me, just with some of the expansion and thinking about even with our company,
Okay.
people that we've helped out, people that we've looked out for, and either as they've grown or as we've reached back out to them in the base of need, they haven't been there for us. And, you know, this is an hour of transparency for this show and just kind of a recap of the things you went through. There was a reason why we didn't have guests on the show this season. We stopped having guests because people weren't showing up on time. People were canceling, weren't doing proper research. They were coming unprepared, even though we would kind of tell them how the conversation is going to go. And primarily at that point, we were pushing other people's agendas and other people's topics, trying to give awareness. So a lot of our stuff is local, but not as, I would say, connected to the community as we used to be when we were doing it live and we were trying to give people exposure. But the biggest thing is most of those people never took the time to go back and share the story, comment on the story, repost it. Like, we were doing all this work. We were a basic production company. You're talking about $4,000 to $5,000 worth of services for somebody to come and film you an hour worth of content, streaming it live, editing it, reposting it, hashtags, and just weren't getting the love back. Now, our audience grew by moving it to the daytime, but our outreach changed. So I think the accountability part, the biggest part of, like, don't always be the person people can go to when you can't do the same for them. This really spoke volumes.
Yeah. No, I definitely like the last statement of the be you and stop giving the same people the freedom to disrupt your peace. You know, we oftentimes talk about, especially within our own circles and, you know, on Facebook posts, Instagram posts, etc.,
Right.
sort of about the journey of being an entrepreneur and how, you know, it's good to have people around you that you can sort of lean on, bounce ideas off of, and the idea of peace, right? Because when you're doing this thing, it's not really peaceful. It's a lot going on.
It's a lot.
There's sleepless nights. Your brain is constantly going to try to figure out what's going on. So the more you can begin to establish peace beyond some of that stuff, right? It's so important. And people who sort of take that away from you, you really have to start to shed. And I was watching, Kevin actually was shared something with me because I was having a conversation with him. And he shared a video that Black Dot did on YouTube talking about Jay-Z. This was around the same time where Jay-Z talked about, you know, he was becoming a billionaire.
Okay.
And it basically talked about how his progression from starting out and then where he went and how he had to shed layers as he moved up his journey and how everything just started to change. So when you think about it, how far are you willing to go with your success? Do you really want what that looks like? Because a lot of times those people who may have been there in the beginning may not be able to go with you along that journey. And what you look like today may not be what you look like later on if you truly want to be a multimillionaire or hit that $1 billion net worth mark. So I think, you know, especially with us as we're growing in so many different ways, we have to sort of think about that and make sure that we're not only taking care of our businesses, but we're taking care of ourselves personally.
And I think one of the biggest things, last engagement I did at Black Tech Week, I gave the analogy of takeoff. And the whole conversation, or my 6-minute rant, was basically about the fact that success is kind of like a private jet. Entrepreneurship is more like a commercial flight. That commercial flight, you put as many bags on there as many people, and you just want to sell. When you get to a private jet, you can only bring so much luggage, and you can only bring so many people. Otherwise, what you had on that commercial flight would weigh down that private jet, and it would never be able to take off. So you got to figure out who can come with you and what baggage will you bring, or will you just trust the journey and get the baggage you need when you get to that next destination? It's a big process to know everybody can't take that flight with you. Even in your best situation, that private jet might come with 16 seats, and that's a large jet. So after that 16, think about it, medium 4, dominations of 4, 4 and 4. After you get past those 16 people, you're going to have to wait or they're going to have to get there on their own. Can't take everybody with you. So, yes, Ms. Jones, we agree with you. Do not disrupt my peace.
That's right.
Be my peace. Do not disrupt my peace.
Listen.
All right. So the budget of value. Yes, that is a rhetorical statement, but in relationships, especially business, oftentimes people neglect the true value of services rendered and intellectual property. The other day, a colleague told a group of us their hourly rate. My first thought wasn't that it's expensive, but what do I need to do to increase my hourly to match that? Yes, I'm going to pay them that hourly rate because the capital they are imparting on my businesses is that times two. Just in business, we might get a bucket of service at a value rate for your professional endeavors, but you think your client should pay the same value because of essence, you got to hook up.
If you don't value your colleagues' services for their actual value, if you have projected a client's budget to be above that value, what does that say about you and your value? You clearly budgeted a trip to the Gucci store or a fancy brunch with friends on the beach, but expect your vendor to bend because you cheapen your services. Take a moment to examine how people and services fit in your scope. No scope equals no vision.
Look, everybody at our team has provided professional services that get billed at an hourly rate, from legal to consulting to advertising to design to marketing. This is just what it is. It's just a lot of people that's just going to hear no. It's the little girl on she's got to have it.
Mm-hmm. The main character?
No, not Nola Darling. The little girl.
Oh, okay. I haven't really
the
kept up with
lesbian's daughter, the one she was having a relationship with. Skylar. Skylar said, children always know what's going on.
Sure do.
And parents always make it seem like it's that complicated. It's actually not complicated. Mm-mm. It's either the truth or it's just hard to accept. And when she said
right,
that.
Some fabrication of the truth.
Right.
It's all muddied up.
And when she said that, I was like, yo, that's what it is. So this is what it is. The truth is, if you compare me to another agency that has had the same kind of clientele as me and you value my work, yes, I might be charging the same as that other agency because I've been doing it for 20 years. It's not new. If you deem me a professional, but yet you want to sit over me and critique, understand I will get to a point where I will stop advising you and just execute to get the paycheck. As my close friend says, I'm not going to say something twice that I didn't get paid for once. So if you don't want to listen, that's your choice. But when somebody seeks and gives you professional advice versus you being able to combat it with other professional experiences versus just your preference, understand your failure is then something you're destined to, and that's something you have to own because you didn't take that advice anymore. And those things can go everywhere from color theory to selection to your opportunities of how you move forward. But with that being said, if you're going to be cheap, just go somewhere else. There's Fiverr and there's other applications, but nobody's going to continue to lower their prices when we visually see how you're spending your money. I had to have a conversation with Dante about replacing shoes that I've had for 3 years because now that I'm going to the gym, I know some of my, leg problems and back problems are coming from bad shoes. I mean, shoes wear down just like tires. I have to have new shoes for the gym. But I'm not really into vanity stuff, so I don't buy. Y'all see, I probably wear the same 7 T-shirts. If you see the laundry, it's the same shirts getting washed over and over again.
Right.
That
and
just
like
didn't
those, they
become my
gotta be
focus.
replaced.
Right. But now the next thing would be to buy shirts. But if you don't put a value or a budget to the value of the services you want, just expect failure and expect to lose at whatever you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm here for these closing statements. that last line spoke to me, especially as a former project manager, and I'm still very much a project manager, but literally having no scope means no vision. And for those who are not necessarily in marketing or advertising and may not be familiar with what a scope is, so a scope is a document that sets forth the parameters, the requirements, and the direction for a project. And in that scope, you usually break down the different features of what you want to be delivered, the timeline, and the budget. A scope is what is set out first in order to get the team behind it, get sign off, and then everybody moves forward based on what that scope is. So the project's outcome is usually tied to how good the scope is. If it's a sucky scope, you may end up with a sucky project because you were not clear up front and in the beginning with what your vision is. And that speaks so loudly in business. If you start out with a shaky foundation, you're not quite sure what you're doing and you're not quite sure how you're going to move forward, then it's going to be really hard for you to really execute on what it is that you want because you were not clear up front. When people talk about manifestation, one of the things that is so widely talked about is being clear. In anything, the clearer you are, the better it is. If you're working with designers, the clearer you are with your feedback and your direction, the better your work will be when it comes back to you.
Make it pop is not a direction.
Right. Or make the logo bigger. Like, will not fix everything. So you really just have to own that. And just to level up on what Mike was just talking about, you know, we have to take responsibility for where we are and for how we treat those that we want to work with, especially in areas like South Florida. The industry is relatively small. So you want to make sure that you're treating people with respect, right? Because if you are a horrible client, your designer may tell other designers, I work with that person, they're not that great. You will probably have a really hard time. So it's extremely important to always put your best foot forward, even regardless of if you're on the client side or on the design side. You need to make sure that you are valuing yourself, your business, your vision, as well as the services of those who you're enlisting to help you bring your vision to life.
Because we had a saying that says, I've been dope, you're late. But to take that just a little bit further, I am not overpriced. You have just undervalued me. So I just want you to let that soak in. Nothing about what we charge and what we do, and everybody should feel this way, is overpriced. You just undervalue what I give to you and what I offer to you. Most of your designers don't come with business plan, business development, marketing strategies. They literally just design.
Right.
That's why we charge the rates we do. Colors come with a theory. Colors come with a brand psychology. Colors come with an emotion. And as my dear friend Smitty has said, focus on what's important. What's important is doing what's best for me. And the other saying we have in is secure your mask first. They tell you, even if the plane going down, Toya cannot put her mask on Taco first. She got to secure her mask, and that's her child.
Right. So I can make sure that I can take care of him.
Exactly. So if you think I'm going to die and exert myself trying to help you before I help myself, you don't understand business. But just remember that I am not overpriced. You have just undervalued me.
And here comes the beer. Whoop, whoop.
I ain't even supposed to be drinking.
Well, last show.
Last show. I can't break tradition. Not even last show. I just got to go to the gym. I'm still eating. I'm all raw fruits and vegetables, man. This thing is hard.
Ooh, do it. I need to join that.
It's a detox.
Maybe a little bit.
I mean, in theory, this is still all vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it's carbs. Like
right. Straight bread.
Straight bread.
To your stomach.
So, the next one is education. Education is more than just degrees, trades, and certification. Education is applied learning that, when absorbed, to be applied to impact others with more than data. But information that then becomes knowledge. As knowledge is tested and validated, it becomes age and evolves into wisdom.
So if we are to educate and inform, we must in all we do ensure application as well as empathy from those that teach and those that are taught. Empathy in combination with application brings about true change. We aptly educate to improve the human condition in all facets. We impact to bring knowledge to others and through our actions. Measurable actions develop wisdom to teach future generations who will then continue the loop of educating others.
You're always learning.
Yeah.
The cycle of education should never stop.
Never stop.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah, no, I like to think the minute you stop learning and growing, that's when you are truly like in the process of dying. Like as long as you're always looking,
Which is fine.
Into, I guess. I mean, if you're always looking into the world with like eyes of a child and like wonder, and you're never jaded, you're like, oh, I done seen that, or you know what I mean? There's just too much to take in and too much to be a part of. I don't know why you want to just be a student of life.
That's actually what it is. I mean, but you know, and this is for some people out there. I understand truthfully in life, you may not have a greater purpose. It's okay.
Huh?
You may just be totally happy and totally content with where you're at, and that's just what it's going to be. And nobody has a problem with that. But you should not criticize, critique, or down those that are willing to always grow. That is a choice they, we, us, I myself has made.
Mm-hmm.
I love to learn new things, try new things, implement new things. That's why my position, I didn't care about CEO and other stuff. Chief of ideation. Everybody knows if you give me a couple of seconds, I'll come up with an idea. I mean, food part today, right? I mean, it's just learned behavior of seeking solutions
Right.
for things that happen, and we like to execute. But
that's my other business title, creative solutionist. That's how it just happens like that. But I think that also goes back to the idea of being open to seeing a challenge, and then how can you figure it out, right? And not just looking for someone else to solve your problems.
But I will say one part of this, like you said, the parts that evolves into wisdom. The wisdom that comes from continuous education is learning how to actually implement those things that you've learned, and to implement that data and know what to walk away from and how fast to walk away from it.
Yeah.
The fail fast procedure. Some people you will just have to say no to because they just don't fit into, going back to our first statement, the scope. And when people don't fit into the scope, you just got to know when to cut them off.
Yeah.
Moving on. Social media is a blessing and a curse. So some people use social media for good, raising awareness to social issues like tech beats and bytes and current events, generating revenue and marketing events. But other people use social media purely as a self-esteem or ego boost, posting pictures of the lives they wish they had versus the lives they're living, without actually disclosing the fact that the post is more aspirational than realistic. I recently watched an episode of a reality show where a woman was visiting a battered woman's shelter. She bumped into a lady that she's known for several years and learned of the abusive relationship her acquaintance had recently escaped from. During her interview, the cast member said, "I would have never guessed she was going through something like that based off of her post on Facebook."
It's perfectly fine to dream and plan. Hell, I think this is a necessity for a successful life trajectory. But in our drive to prove our worth and value to the world, a lot of us have forgotten the importance of gratitude and truth. Gratitude reminds us to be thankful for what we have today, enjoy and embrace the smaller things, rather than stressing over the fact that we don't have what other people have, or we're not living the perfect life. We should always remember that perfection is complete. Everything else is learning. What we just talked about.
We're not perfect. You're constantly going to be building. But I would like to say with this, it doesn't mean you have to find yourself in a constant state of breaking yourself down and saying how bad of a life you have. But you should find people that you can confide in, that you tell the truth. But also, your life doesn't have to go on social media. I am waiting for the F3 figures to come through, because when I get that next phone, I'm going to go through a detachment process. There'll be a number where if it's an emergency, and I would give blood for you and money in that order, because the blood would probably come before the money. That number is going to be available 24/7. The number that I've had since 1999, that 850 foot number, it's going to go off. It's going to go off. We just started something, and I can already see that I got 3 referral calls a day. I'm not going to be that available. I don't want an assistant, but I'm just not going to be that available. But just quit lying to people, because you're misguiding people. It's like the basis of, I would say, false influencers. You have your friends around you thinking you doing this, and now your friends are extending themselves to a point of no return, trying to replicate your life, and you just lying about it. And I don't care whether it's personal, but also some people may forget in business, won't you start telling the truth? Granted, if you close $100,000 contract, won't you talk about the 13 contracts you didn't get before then, or talk about the money you lost, or talk about the people that didn't pay you? Like, if you're gonna talk about the wins, talk about the L's, because we're gonna talk about a win today. But I'm definitely gonna disclose what it took to get to that win. But I think like this is very true. I would say for a saying, I know, David, I know you're quoting some of the sayings today. My saying would be, if you're going to post the picture, remove the filters. I don't, and how you take that is up
Why
to
are you
you.
stripping? Sorry, y'all. We got people stripping.
Our director was excited about that one. So I'm just saying, and if you take that as the literal aspect of the filters on the photos, or if you actually have enough common sense to understand what I'm really saying to you, if you post a picture, just remove the filter.
But I would also say sometimes you got to put on them rose-colored glasses and see the world in a different perspective.
And at that point, just don't post a damn picture. Just look, absorb it, take it in.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think the whole point of this is saying that there's a time and a place for everything. And at some point, so there's the whole idea of, live it until it exists or act as if, right? But some people take that way too far. And then their whole existence becomes not what they're living. So then that sort of, there becomes like a schism, right? Between like who they are and then their outward persona. And then that's when you start to see people having breakdowns, right? Because there's a conflict going on and they can't quite make sense of it anymore because they've created like two different lives in the same person. Like, that's hard to keep up because you may be telling one person something else, telling this other person something else, doing this, showing that. And then it's like, wait a minute, who? What? And when it comes to confront you, you like, uh-oh, wait a minute. I don't know what y'all talking about. So I think at the end of the day, the idea of authenticity, right, was a hot topic a few years ago. Everybody wanted to be authentic. Now it's about those filters. And people are actually getting plastic surgery to look like they're filters. Like there's a skewing that's kind of happening, and we're not really seeing ourselves how we used to see ourselves before because we're using this camera lens to look at ourselves. This is becoming our mirror. So many people like to talk about the Black Mirror on Netflix, but the Black Mirror is literally talking about your screen. It's literally because we are so clued into our devices. So the whole idea of the detoxing.
Rewind that for the people in the back that didn't get that. Do y'all actually know what Black Mirror is? Rewind it. Just say that one more time.
Every time I hold it up, it keeps coming up. But the Black Mirror is your turned off TV screen. It's your turned off laptop. It is your phone, right? So it activates and it mirrors back to you what you want to see because how you're engaging with it. And it's a skewed perspective because it's programming. They call it programming for a reason. We got to look beyond the layers and see into the truth.
Which one, the applause button, Dante?
we gonna work on the sound effects. Y'all gonna get them next season.
Oh. I don't even know which one that was.
It's all right. It's all right.
We're going to get it. We're going to figure it out. So, this is another thing I want to add to this. And Smitty said it. Yeah, friends are better than pocket change because when you really need some, normally money isn't a solution. But I will tell you right now, a good friend is better than any counselor than you're ever going to get. And there's two people in my life that I've had to personally call them. And when you start talking about relationships, marriage, and everything else, they allowed a crew of us to be very, very, I would say, involved with their relationship when things were good and when things were bad. And being able to see those highlights and those up and downs prepared me for what a relationship will look like.
Because it's real.
Because it's not always going to be good. And I mean, I love the couples that do the little cute photos and all that. That's cool. That's just not me.
No.
Because if I'm gonna do those cute photos, it's gonna be that one where we yelling and arguing about something that happened in the garage that might not even been an argument, but I want you to see it all. So when I got involved in a relationship, I made that decision. It won't be public because I don't like to give off the perception. That's why some of my best performing posts are the ones when I'm ranting and I'm letting stuff go, because it's all been built up. But at the same time, I will share my success. But
Yeah.
I decided certain things in my life need to be public, because I've had people like, oh, I don't see pictures of your wife. I don't see pictures of this. I don't see. So are you paying us for those pictures? You taking us to dinner if we post?
No, you want to see.
Like, I don't need you in my business.
Voyeurism is real.
I do not allow. A lot of people don't even know where I live. So if I'm not inviting you over to my house, why am I going to invite you into my life? Separate it, man. Some things are personal. Some things are for public. And you don't ever see nothing about Denzel and his wife. That man rich. He rich. He's happy. That's all you need to know. So if you want to know stuff, nothing is ever going to be perfect. The painting is never really going to be finished. But at some point, you just need the world to see that masterpiece. So choose what you expose, but try to expose more of the truth. Absolutely.
And I do the same, right? So my relationship is definitely not on social medias, and neither
On the
is my
internets.
son. So I don't really post a lot of content about him either. And I happen to be kind of private like that.
I got on my sister about that. I was like, I want to see my nephew, but you need about 6 people in the group. Send us the photos. The world don't need to know about him.
Absolutely, I know. I have. Yes. So yes, we will share photos amongst people.
That's all you know.
Yeah.
Everybody on little boy cute. I don't need everybody stalking my nephew. Like, just
right. And you just
enjoy
never
the
know
moment.
the intent and the energy behind people who may be seeing those photos.
Right.
And you got to protect.
And I do appreciate it though, because as black families, we was too poor to have camcorders. So there's a lot of moments that I'm sure my mom and dad probably would have wanted to capture when I was a kid. So it's great to capture it, but that was the whole thing about camcorders. You recorded, the tape sat, and you came around for either Thanksgiving and Christmas. And what happened? Everybody would sit there and watch the old moments.
Yeah. And I think to a certain extent we're losing that, right? Because we capture so many moments, and how many of us actually print them, or how many of us actually do anything with them? So I know I'm guilty of that.
And
I got tons.
Just like Smitty is on it today. I see you, Steph. As Stephanie has said, if we only engage on social media and I can't call you, just know that's what we are. I know they call it friends on social media. They need to change those tags to associates. Facebook, what Facebook needs to do is have an associates versus friends. This Facebook, if you want to fix your algorithm, allow me to go back and check who I actually deem to be a friend. They don't need to see this. This should be on my personal end. Allow me to select who I deem to be a friend versus who I deem to be an associate, so that I can have a more curated feed of the content that I see. Because a lot of my associates, I really don't give a damn about what's going on in their day-to-day. So that's the way y'all can fix y'all algorithm. It's just a start. So let's go ahead and do In These Streets.
So in these streets, we're going to be a little
Wait.
racy.
I just want to forewarn, if you're sitting here watching this with your kids or anything, this whole conversation is about to go. Latoya is just closing out in a big way. The earring came off again.
Y'all, I lost my back today, so I had to kind of jerry-rig it.
All right, so I don't know where this came from.
Yeah,
Trina, Stephanie, Tamila, y'all want to stay involved for this one. This is about to get real interesting. Go ahead.
So in these streets, last one for this season, it's time to level up on your sexting. So apparently, people are starting to create boomerang nude gifts and sending those instead of your regular old nude pics. So moving booty shots, booby shots, private part shots, people are now sending those as boomerangs. And apparently people like it more than old traditional photos because it adds a little warmth and familiarity to the whole sexting experience. If you into this, if you into sexting, then you should know you need to level on up and go ahead and send a boomerang instead of a photo. But one of the things that you definitely need to be aware of if you are doing boomerangs, because you could have Boomerangs, the app that is separate from Instagram. So on the Boomerangs app, you can download them and then share them via your own like text messages or however you decide to send your nude boomerang photos. But if you're doing that, you need to be aware, because if you're sharing nude boomerangs with a consenting partner, Instagram, which of course owns Boomerang, has a strict policy on the sharing of nude and sexual content. That rule applies to content showing sexual intercourse, genitals, close-ups of naked buttocks. The policy also applies to some photos of women's nipples, with the exception of photos showing all this other kind of stuff that I'm not going to read out loud. So where things like nipples need to be blurred or pixelated. So sharing your nude boomerangs to your Instagram stories or your grid is not really a great idea. Although we do know that there are lots of different sexy nude handles on Instagram. But I just had to let y'all know that. So for the summertime, because everybody got their summertime body ready, that's what you maybe need to do. You maybe need to send some boomerang nude.
Bangarang, bangarang, bangarang. It is no longer boomerang. It is now bangarang.
A little fun.
I appreciated that. I definitely should have read ahead on the note. I did not see. So quick shout out. Actually, you want to get? Well, I'll give the shout. I already know this. This is dope. So this is not mine, but Kimora Lee is relaunching Baby Fat in partnership with Forever 21. Won't you tell them the news? I just want to say that.
Everybody who ready for the throwback. Baby Fat is coming back. So on Wednesday, today, essentially, Forever 21 teased the upcoming Baby Fat collection on Twitter by writing 2 more days until the cat is back. Stay tuned for 6/13. So the designer is planning an exciting collaboration throughout the summer.
Wait.
What?
2 more days until the cat is back.
You remember the logo.
I'm just saying, after your topic and saying this, it's kind of there, you know.
No, not that cat.
Okay.
The Baby Fat cat.
Okay, the cat is.
Y'all remember the cat? It was all over the graphics.
Yeah, we remember
that cat. So the designer is planning an exciting collaboration throughout this summer, and it's inspired by some of Baby Fat's most memorable items. Kimora Lee said that she plans to get back into accessories and adding new categories, some of which weren't around when she started. She's looking forward to doing her fashion shows, and there was some hints about Baby Fat possibly being at New York Fashion Week this coming fall. So we shall see, and that's what's up. You know, there's a whole resurgence. Tommy Hilfiger's like gaining in popularity again. He's coming out with his stuff. Calvin Klein underwear is like becoming big again. Why not, Kimora? Bring it on back.
In other words, the generation after us has lacked creativity to create new things, so we're bringing everything back from the past.
All right. 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99.
Glad I kept my old T-shirts. I can just bring out a lot of stuff that's been sitting around.
Mm-hmm.
So for the 250 people that are watching us live right now,
we see y'all.
We have to make an announcement. You gonna zoom in on me, Dante? I need the camera on me.
Right, not the drum roll.
Not the drum roll.
I got that.
Ready? Grow is officially getting ready to launch, y'all. Digital Grass has officially signed its contract and is getting ready to make its press release for our CEO spaces, not just a co-working space. Creating executive opportunities. GROW stands for generating revenue opportunities and wealth. So this is the shirt. This is the logo, as you can see. We did our photo shoot today, but we had to give an exclusive before the press release comes out. But there's even more news to add to that. GROW is already working on its second location with the contractor sub hub in Riviera Beach that will be specifically working with people in the construction industry to help their businesses grow, especially going after RFPs and a lot of the state, city, and government jobs. So we're making moves. But there's a reason why I want to announce that, because I said with the good comes the bad. So you should know. In the process of getting this project, we almost lost it twice. It took a year and a half. 6 months of that was just conversation. And it was a lot of base of negotiations and understanding, but we made it through the process. But this is the thing, consistent hard work and building your own platform for vertical integration. Pay attention to how you build that. We'll be producing more shows. You can put me back on split screen now. It's not just me. Latoya is going to be coming out with another show.
Whoop, whoop.
We're going to be coming out with whiskey for the guys. Going to get into the mental health and allowing men to become more vulnerable and having open conversation. A little bit different than the barber shop or the shop. A little bit of red table-ish. I hope a whole bunch of dudes ain't crying, but we're going to try to go there.
Just have a box of tissues. Y'all good.
We just going to try to dive in. It's some stuff. You know, I wanted to call it What Other People Won't Say. That's what I wanted to call the show. But whiskey is better because I feel like drinking. I think a good drink and educating people on whiskey
Good,
and
strong,
bourbon.
stiff drink.
Something
Cocktail.
stiff. You just all there today, huh?
Those puns were absolutely intended, y'all.
Yes, Stephanie, I know women drink whiskey, and you and Chaz have bought some of the best whiskey I've had to the table. But y'all got red table conversations. Us men need to have mental health awareness and start having conversations. The men need to start expressing themselves. But we have agreed that once a month or every quarter, depending on how often we film whiskey, we will have women on the show also, just like the shop. Because the shop, even though it's a barbershop, they have women in there. So we will always remain inclusive.
That's right.
So I'm just letting you know, it won't just be all men, but it's a men focus. It's male focused. So
no, lots to look forward to. This summer's gonna be hot and exciting and fun.
So you guys have some time right now. We have about 10 to 15 more minutes. If you have any topics or anything you want us to discuss before we close out, we rarely do this, but we take in requests. I mean, we got a lot going on. I mean, I wish I could talk about what's going on with the beer, but Toya, the beer situation.
Yeah, no, that's hot.
The beer situation is on fire. Oh, shout out to Charlotte. If you guys have noticed what Timeline Brewery, which is the beer we're drinking, I'm pretty sure we're drinking on an IPA from the taste of it. We've signed on one of our first strategic partners and our first brand ambassador. Her name is Hops and Charlie. So that's the pretty young face that you guys have been seeing on the Timeline Brewery page.
Whoop, whoop.
We finally had to do some strategic marketing.
No, that's what's up.
I don't look like the crowd got nothing to say. I think we might have pleased them, man. We ran over. So the one question we have from today, when is Dante Pendergrass or Dante Penderass, when is he going to sing again?
I think you should close out the show.
I think Dante should probably, because he's been behind the camera the whole season. I think, because y'all, best man opportunity, my man sang Luther Vandross at the wedding, that was on fire. So I think we should definitely
put his shirt back on. He can get in front of
we
the camera.
can't let him sing the way he's looking right now, but we can. Well, because you got on a loose wife beater. I mean, you done lost weight, so the wife beater ain't even fitting.
That's right. He's 15 pounds down, y'all. Y'all heard it.
Okay, I can do that also, Alicia. If everybody that's commenting right now, well, not everybody, because that's going to be way too many words. This is how we're going to do it. Go ahead and give me one word of how you felt about this last season. One word and one word only. And what we're going to do is a final word.
Oh, that'll be fun.
And then, where can folks find Cosmology? Because the product has launched. We haven't talked about it. You haven't even bought it on the show.
I did.
I ain't got no products for the lady.
I ain't seen my cases yet.
Oh, you're right. I was supposed to bring those to you today. You right. So, yes. So, our packaging, which has been fabulous, everybody's loving it, was designed by Medium 4. With Cosmology at KAZMALEJE.com. It is changing so many lives. Women with curly, kinky, coily hair are loving it, and so are their kids and their men's and their husbands. So it's doing a lot. People are loving it, giving us fantastic feedback. We were doing a lot of great stuff. We're getting ready to go to New Orleans for the New Orleans Natural Hair Expo on July 6th. So we will be in the Essence Fest activities, and there's so much more to come, y'all. It's insane. This summer is about to change all kind of games. Ready. And
Dante, you got a final word? Toya, you got one?
I just read encouraged, but let me see, because I was about to say it out loud. Solar. Let's do solar.
Solar. Anybody else out there? We got 17 seconds to put in your one word for the final word, and then we're going to have Dante close us out. What you singing? It's a Luther song.
We got Luther
Gotta
Vandross.
stick with Luther. Okay. Smitty, you know I'm country. All these big words ain't.
Extravaganza. That's right.
This is the longest one I've done before. All right.
Do it. Do
So
it.
that's 17 seconds. So, as Digital Grass has gone through its growth and evolution from just a concept to a co-working space with multiple locations, we strive to keep the community informed as well as encouraged to become your own superstar. In a complex, polar, but yet solar environment, the extravaganza of becoming the superstar that you are will only show the growth that you have endured over the last season with us. Continue to grow, continue to be great, continue to shine, but more than anything, continue to grow. That's our final word.
And deoxyribonucleic acid. Nucleic acid.
Ain't nobody saying that word, but I appreciate you guys. We love you. Just know next season we've partnered up with the plug, so we gonna have reports, informative thing. We made our first post with the plug today. Check that out, the plug daily. That's Sherelle Dorsey. We recruited her to move. Nah, we didn't do it, but she moving down to Miami. Got a lot of things going on, a lot of great opportunities, but we love you guys. We love all you, especially our associate producers. Thank you for all your help. We couldn't do it without you. Alicia, David, Rosie. Thank you to my amazing close friend, my best friend, my little sister. I am older than her. My little sister, LaToya Sturp, for believing in us when we could not afford to pay her for her amazing services. And she had to keep driving up to Broward.
No, thank you for doing everything that y'all do. Y'all
Appreciate
continue to be amazing in the community. And y'all always get compliments on the products and the services. So
Thank you. But it ain't no other way than to close it out for the person that normally doesn't get any shine, that doesn't get any credit. We are going to switch it over to a single frame for the most embarrassing 3 minutes that we've ever put on Digital Grass. Bringing to the stage the executive director, the producer, my best friend, the man with the plan, the man with the sneakers, too many sneakers. I'm going to start calling him Dante Mars Filiar. Bring it to the stage to close us out, Dante Pendergrass.
bring your beer in the wine glass on in.
I'm controlling everything. See, people don't realize. So, let me put myself in one frame. Boom. So you see this sweat, y'all? This is me hustling, pouring beer, and make sure these cameras and these lights and all that other fancy stuff is going on. So I got to turn my. So this is dedicated. Since y'all didn't get to see the fabulous, because we didn't post it up on social media, what I did at Michael Hall and Alicia Daniel Hall wedding, we're going to sing So Amazing, because we've had a pretty amazing year. I've had a bunch of bumps. Next month is definitely going to be hard for me, but had a bunch of bumps in the road, but, we got past them. So let me do a quick test on the sound. Then we're going to end it off like karaoke or trap karaoke. One verse. All I'm doing is one verse, dog. Oh yeah. All right, we're gonna do the first verse, y'all. And y'all know I studied for this song 3 months for this dude wedding. Love has truly been good to me. Sad day or minute have I had since you come my way. I hope you know I gladly go. Anywhere you take me, it's so amazing to be loved. I follow you to the moon and the sky above. I'm single, all the ladies out there. I'm single, and I cook too. Do I go? Love to tell you how you thrill me. I'm happy as I can be. You have come and changed my whole world. I got sadness, hello, mellow. What a wonderful day. It's so amazing to be loved. I follow you to the moon in the sky above. Ooh, I go. It's my favorite part. And it's so amazing, amazing. I can stay forever and ever. You will never love and leave me never. 'Cause we got amazing love. Truly, it's amazing, amazing. I can still forget her together. Love and leave and never. 'Cause we got amazing love. Ooh, so amazing. And I am waiting for a love like you. It's so amazing to be loved. I follow you to the moon and the sky above. Thank you for following us on season 3 of Tech Beats and Bytes. Michael Hall, Latoya Sturrup, Alicia Daniel Hall, David Stewart, Rosie. I'm not gonna mess up your last name on the internet. And myself, Dante Filia. We thank y'all. We see y'all in August. We ain't going. We just taking a break. See you in August.
My dog.
Peace.